Good morning. Welcome to the post-launch news conference for Orbital ATK's 5th resupply mission to the International Space Station under NASA's Commercial Resupply contract. Joining us here at Kennedy Space Center are 3 people who will give us the latest updates on the mission. Kenneth Todd, Operations Integration Manager, International Space Station Program. Frank Culbertson, Space Systems Group President, Orbital ATK. Vern Thorpe, Program Manager for NASA Missions, United Launch Alliance. After a few opening comments, we'll take your questions. For those on the phone, if you have a question, you can press *1 to be entered into the queue.
First of all, I'd like to extend my congratulations to the integrated Orb ATK and ULA team. Clearly, this team was ready to go do this launch tonight, and absolutely flawless countdown. And I think for those of you that were here and saw it, I think you would agree it was an absolutely spectacular launch, and certainly never get tired of seeing those. So again, my congratulations to this entire team here to my left. Back in Houston this week, we're having a meeting of all of the program managers within the International Space Station program, and in fact, a couple of minutes before the launch, I spoke with Kirk Shireman, and he wanted to pass on to me that all of the program managers expressed their excitement over this launch tonight and the ability to not just get NASA hardware, but get some of our international partner hardware to orbit. A lot of it being the research that we're going to be doing on Space Station over the next 60, 90, 120 days. And so it's a very exciting time for the program, just coming off the CRS-4 mission to be here and on our way with this OA-6 mission is certainly very exciting. The ISS is ready, the crew's ready, and we'll be ready to go Saturday morning when we see you out the window. Frank.
Thank you very much, Kenny, and good morning to everybody. It is certainly a good day for us. On behalf of all of Orbital ATK, I'd like to thank the teammates that helped make this happen. Of course, United Launch Alliance and all the folks that made this look easy. It was a very smooth count. We all know that it takes a lot of hard work doing hard jobs to make them look easy, and they certainly did that tonight. Of course, the weather cooperated too, which we were happy to see. We had great support through the whole process from NASA Kennedy Space Center processing the cargo, and Johnson Space Center, of course, in the ISS program, and also the 45th Space Wing in making the range available to us and conducting the operations tonight. So it was a great team effort. It allows us to deliver over 3.5 tons of cargo to the International Space Station so that they can continue their important research and keep the crew on board and keep them fed and clothed and healthy. This is a very important mission, both what's happening on the station and what we're delivering. And to be able to turn around so quickly with a great team supporting us, it means a lot to us at the company. We're looking forward to more missions in the near future, but we've still got some big tasks ahead of us tonight. The team has already completed the unfurling of the solar arrays. Both of them unfurled completely and are producing power and charging the batteries. We are now managing the trajectory of the Cygnus, the SS Rick Husband spacecraft, so that we can rendezvous with the space station early Saturday morning, East Coast time. And of course, we're looking forward to that and getting the Cygnus on board and opening the hatch, and maybe they'll find a few Easter eggs on board, who knows. But it's been a good night, and we're very proud of what the team has done, and thank everybody again for their support. And Vern, you and your team put us almost exactly where we needed to be, and we really appreciate that great work. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Frank. It's great to be here after another fantastic launch. I'd like to say congratulations from ULA to NASA and Orbital ATK and the entire mission team. In just a little over 20 minutes, we went from liftoff to delivering Cygnus into exactly the orbit that it wanted to be in. I think I mentioned before during the OA-4 launch, that's faster than most pizza deliveries. So we did it again tonight. This was our second successful cargo mission. Of course, the other one was 3.5 months ago in early December. And I've got a few numbers to share with you tonight. Many of you recall that the last time we launched a Cygnus, it took us 3 attempts over 4 days because of ground winds. The wind was blowing really hard, and it was just exceeding the allowable limits for liftoff. This time the weather cooperated beautifully. Winds were only blowing 6 knots at the time of T0. Also, for the first time that I can ever remember, in one of the final weather updates we got, the launch weather officer actually gave us a 0% probability of violation. And it's rare that you get 0%, so the weather was just beautiful tonight. We were targeting a 230-kilometer circular orbit, and we came very, very close to that, like we normally do. We were just a fraction of a kilometer off, which is well within the allowable dispersions. And regarding the inclination and other orbital parameters, we nailed it. So we got Cygnus where it wants to go. As Frank said, it takes a lot of folks to make this happen, and we're really focused on mission success at United Launch Alliance. But for sustained mission success, it really takes a broader team. It takes a seamless integration between the launch team and our customers, whether they're civil missions like this or commercial missions or government missions. And we are really thankful on this mission in particular to have just a fantastic partnership and a working relationship between all the team members. I'd like to offer a big thank you to the Air Force and to the FAA, who provided outstanding support for this launch, and they also helped make it all happen. I want to say thanks to all the families that stand behind all of us and let us do these great things. And thanks again to all of our mission partners who've worked with us to achieve now 106 consecutive successful missions since ULA is formed. And of course, we do each one of those missions one launch at a time.
Thank you. We'll now take questions. For those of you in the room, you can raise your hand if you have a question, and someone with a mic will come to you. Please introduce yourself and to whom your question is directed. For those on the phone, please press *1 to be entered into the queue if you have a question. Take this gentleman here in the front, please.
So can you tell me what the difference is? Oh, first of all, Brian Rue, NASA Social. Can you tell me what the difference in time is from launch to capture for a Florida launch versus a Virginia launch?
There's really no difference in time that relates to where we launch from. It really depends on the phasing we have with the station at the time we launch. For example, on this mission, launching today results in a Saturday morning rendezvous and berthing. If we had launched tomorrow night, it also would have resulted in a Saturday morning launch and rendezvous and berthing. And if we'd have waited one more day, we might have had a 2-day delay beyond that. So it really varies depending on where the station is in relation to the launch site at the time we launch. But it's usually anywhere between 1.5 and 3.5 days.
Take over here.
Thanks, James, Day in Florida today. First one for Vern. I know you nailed the orbit there. I saw a few questions about the duration of the Centaur burn. Just wondered, was there anything out of the ordinary there, or did it just turn out differently than people were anticipating from what was published?
So the pre-launch predictions of exactly when the events are going to occur are based on a preliminary trajectory. Typically, it's been developed a few weeks before the launch. So it's not unusual for things to vary a little bit based on the actual conditions of launch. What I do know is that Centaur nailed the orbit, and like every mission, we're going to go do a very, very detailed post-flight review. We always do, always have done that, to make sure that everything performed properly. But from everything we've seen so far, the mission was pretty nominal.
Thank you. Frank, just wondered if you could kind of reflect on this 2-mission detour down to Florida that is now complete. Not quite 18 months ago, I guess, the process began, and don't know if you expected it to go as smoothly as it has. Just what do you think now that you've reached this point and you're ready to head home to Wallops?
Well, this is a good example of industry working together to recover from a failure and to move forward in support of our customers such as NASA and the International Space Station in a very expeditious and efficient way. When the accident occurred, our company leadership came together basically and came up with a plan, and we presented it to NASA and said, We have a partnership with ULA. We think we can get you back. We can get back to delivering cargo very quickly, and they took us up on it. And with the help of ULA and a lot of hard work by the team and support of NASA, we were able to pull it off pretty quickly in just over a year, with another one just 3.5 months behind it. I think that shows the resiliency of American industry, our ability to react to unforeseen events and get things back on track in an efficient way. It also shows that doing some of this on a commercial basis allows us to have the flexibility to do those kind of things and react to in a very quick way, in ways the government might not be able to do. No offense, Kenny, but it does allow us to show that this works, and I think we'll see that continue to happen going forward as we react to the reality of the future and events that might occur. We'll come together, and the other part of that is the fact that when we had the failure, the need to continue supporting International Space Station brought a lot of industry together. We had a lot of offers of help from people and ended up working together very effectively to make sure the mission continues. I also want to say thanks to the hundreds of people that showed up at this hour for the press conference, and you know, my greetings to the thousands that must be watching it on TV and online.
Additional questions over here?
Hi, Sultan, Bold Media. I had a couple of questions. First, what is the duration these sort of refreshes sustain the ISS for? And two, what is the statistical probability of Easter eggs being in that payload?
I'll leave the second one to Frank since they packed it, and we'll let him talk about eggs.
I don't reveal secrets like that. The crew might be watching.
Yes, but if your question is, I mean, we're looking at this mission for about 55 days. We plan consumables such that we could sustain without this particular vehicle. We'd always like to keep in front of the arriving vehicles and not have anything there that's critical to our ability to be successful on orbit in sustaining the crews and keeping the research moving forward. And so that's kind of the timeline we always work to. But we keep the vehicles long enough to get the cargo out, load them up with trash, and then we'll let them go. So that's the kind of our plan for the Cygnus vehicles.
Over here?
Hi, Ken Kramer, Northeast Astronomy Forum and Universe Today for Vern. Maybe you could also look ahead. We've seen the beautiful crew access tower rising over the last few months, and it's shining brightly there. I wonder if you could tell us about that, the progress, when it's going to be done, and what it all means.
Okay, well, we're doing that in preparation for when we start, human flights from Complex 41. That tower should be complete and fully operational by the end of the year. And the biggest thing left to do is to put the white room and the swing arm on top. And as we prepare for that, we're running all the cabling and plumbing and things like that inside the tower right now. But I think I want to say the November timeframe, fourth quarter this year, we'll wrap everything up and test it, and it should be operational by the end of the year. So well ahead of when we need to use it for the first time.
And how are you looking forward to that, to get our crews coming to the station?
Well, we always, from a station perspective, we always want redundancy. I mean, Frank just talked to you about, the beauty of getting cargo to orbit and bringing together all these different factions to make things happen and make good things happen, even out of the bad things. And that represents redundancy in the industry thing, and when we can draw on those kinds of things, and we look at it the same way relative to getting people to orbit. So our ability to do that from here is absolutely something we're supportive of and we're excited about, and again, that'll just give us more capability from a station standpoint, more flexibility, and that's good for us going forward. That's going to be good for sustaining our international asset.
Additional questions? All right. Well, you can tune in on a Saturday for the capture and installation of Cygnus. And that concludes our post-launch news conference for this morning.